Okay. Thank you all for coming to hear my presentation. You all know me, I'm DaMonica Cannon, and I am a Columbus State University student, RN to BSN student. And this is my project for my senior project class. Patient safety goals is my PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just going to go over some slides with you. In recent years, more attention has been given to patient safety national rates. Over 98,000 patients die yearly due to errors in the healthcare setting. Annually, the Joint Commission reviews its standards and determines what is a priority for the upcoming year. The goal is to establish problem solving for issues that arise in healthcare related to safety. Some of the national patient safety goals for 2017 for nursing care centers like ours include identify residents correctly during the med pass, use medicine safely, prevent infection, prevent residents from falling, prevent bed sores. Do we not have all of these issues here?
Yeah.
But for this presentation, the focus will be on use medicine safely. The National Patient Safety Goal, in reference to the use of medicine safely, it includes two initiatives, but for this informational, we will center it around the NPSG.03.03.01, which states, take extra care with patients and residents who take medicines to thin their blood. It's on blood thinners. Anticoagulations are commonly used in patients and residents with atrial fibrillation, deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, and mechanical heart valve implants. And due to complicated dosing, we have to adjust the Coumadin level sometimes, the inadequate monitoring, the patient's failure to comply with taking the medicines, all of that makes anticoagulants harmful, a potential for harm. Okay, we had to review 3 articles. In the first article, it was a meta-analysis of randomized trials comparing the effects of the new oral anticoagulants in the elderly adult. And you all know what the new ones are: Pradaxa, Eliquis, and Xarelto. There were 10 random controlled trials, including over 2,500 elderly participants. In previous reports, it was indicated that these new oral anticoagulants cause a higher risk of bleeding in the elderly. So this article was to see if that was true, basically. For the results of this trial, it did not notice any more bleeding or any more excessive bleeding in the new oral anticoagulants as compared to the traditional warfarin. But as a group, the new oral anticoagulants did not cause more bleeding. They in fact resulted in a lower risk of stroke, embolus, and venous thromboembolus related deaths. So not really bleeding, but some other. Okay. Also in this article, age was not a determining factor in reference to being harmed for this particular group, but rather these participants had other comorbidities such as renal failure and low weight loss. And we know the elderly here, they are prone to renal failure because of medicines they take, dehydration, and just other diagnoses that they have. Another issue for the new oral anticoagulant is that currently there is not an antidote for those medicines. And age alone should not be the only decision that we consider when selecting a anticoagulation therapy for these residents. This should be done on a case-by-case, individualized basis. So we shouldn't just, think because of their age that they don't fall into a certain category. We just got to do it case by case. Okay, Article 2. It really had the same comorbidities in reference to renal failure for the new anticoagulation meds. And that's because they are partly removed from the kidney, so there's still that risk for renal failure. They have the drug-food interactions, such as the traditional oral anticoagulants. They have drug-drug interactions. There's some drugs you can't take with warfarin. There's certain foods we can't eat when you're on that medicine. The new oral anticoagulations, however, are perceived to have some of those same drug interactions or drug-food interactions. There's still research being done. Those patients and residents with a history of atrial fibrillation, they have a higher risk of falls as compared to residents or patients without a history of atrial fibrillation. The problem with the new oral anticoagulants is that when they have a fall, it's difficult to treat the injuries because, as I said before, there isn't a reversal agent for those newer meds. So it's kind of hard to treat if there's a lot of bleeding. Osteoporosis develops with the use of long-term anticoagulant, and it's also been seen to develop with the use of new anticoagulation therapy. So now you have osteoporosis to keep in mind. Prodaxa, you cannot give crush. You cannot open it and give the capsule. It has to be swallowed whole. So if you have a demented resident, if they chew it, you don't know how much of the medicine they actually receive. You can't put it in a tube. If a dose is missed, any of the newer anticoagulations, if a dose is missed, that makes them at a higher risk for embolus. So they can't miss a dose because the half-life is so short. Article 3 was a shorter article, and as stated before, the anticoagulants are recommended for patients with atrial fibrillation or a history of atrial fibrillation. Warfarin is not ideal for the elderly due to renal insufficiency, risk of bleeding with injury, the drug-food interactions, and lab monitoring. So that's like a disadvantage of warfarin. The new oral anticoagulants, they act rapidly within 2 hours, but they have a higher risk of embolism if a dose is missed, like just stated in the last article. This is a case study that I sort of came up with. A 76-year-old man is prescribed warfarin by his cardiologist for atrial fibrillation. He has to have a prostate biopsy, and the biopsy is coordinated between his urologist and his cardiologist because they're trying to determine the therapy as far as stopping the Coumadin or changing changes. However, it was never stopped, and he had the biopsy. So what do you think happened? Yes, he died immediately following the procedure. So what precautions should have been taken to prevent that?
Should have stopped it like 5 to 7 days before or something like that. That's what they normally do for a procedure.
It should have been stopped.
They should have checked it before and...
Yeah, that's a good point too, checking his INR. And then one thing I thought about was maybe asking him, did you take that Coumadin? You know. So there are some things that could have been done, that should have been done to prevent his untimely death for a simple procedure. Okay, in closing, in the elderly, the use of blood thinners should be used cautiously due to comorbidities such as renal failure and low weight loss. And other risks include increased bleeding with fall injuries or any type of injury really, drug interactions, compliance and taking the medicines on a routine basis, and monitoring labs with those traditional oral anticoagulants. Patient education, including discussing the risks involved and precautions that need to be taken, is very essential for a positive patient outcome. So we have to educate the patients on the risks and the precautions on what they need to do when they're on these blood thinners. As nurses, that's what we're responsible to do. And that is the end of my presentations. Do you all have any questions for me?
Oh, I do have one. On those newer, like the backs and all, how often is their blood checked?
They don't really have a lab with those new.
They don't.
And that's one of the, I think one of the selling points of them, that they're more convenient as far as not having to get lab work done as often, but at the same time, like I said, there really isn't a reversal agent either. So, and they cost more money. where the warfarin is cheaper, they cost more money, where they're newer, you know, so. And, that, the National Patient Safety Goals, if you all want to check those out, it's on the Joint Commission's website. All right, thank you for your time.